What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC channel dedicated to Juventus. It's match day. Genoa Juventus. It's a away match. With or without fans, it's going down all right. And obviously, as you can see, the theme is going to be, can Juve finally break down that damn bus? And yes, we are expecting to see that 100%. And you know, that's really the biggest question outside this thing. But Motta staying true to being a man of many surprises, all right? And we're going to talk about that coming from the presser yesterday ahead of this one and the lineup. And really the first comment right out of the gate. What is going on with Cabal and Luiz? We're going to take a look at all that together right now. And shout out to everybody jumping in here. I got Lucci. I got Trim. I got Omer. Fellas, game day. You ready to rock or what? Trim's got a classic on with the 15-16, black and gold there. And Omar's gone back to sleeveless. All right, so the guns are out to break down the bus. And Lucci's going with almost like an ode to Canada there with that. Everybody says it looks like there's some Maple Leafs in there. So there you go. Maybe a little sign of signing Jonathan David in January, trying to rock the Canada kit there. We'll see. We'll see. Lucci, you don't want Jonathan David? Not at all, eh?
Me, to be honest, does not impress me.
Oh boy, you and Trim might be going at it there. Okay, might be going at it there.
Trim, anytime.
It's all good. We're gonna get to everything here today, lads. And Matteo, good morning, boys. Opa, ciao Juventini. Matt, ciao, boys. Let's go for Asen. I'm smelling a victory. Okay, I hope so because I want to have a Sunday victory show. All right, and then Calvin coming in. Girlfriend broke up with me, so Juve better win today. Holy smokes. You know what? You're better off. Keep it rolling. Plenty of fish in the sea. Let's go. Let's go. Just like we say goodbye to players, hey, they run along, you move on to the next one, okay? Now, let's get to the news. Extensions. Pinsolio. Imbangula. What's interesting out of this, because Pinsolio's just a straightforward, he's third string. It's all good. Counts as homegrown player, no problems. Imbangula represents 16 out of 26 players now that have contracts to 4 years or more at Juventus right now. So one of the things we were talking about is in this past Mercato was how Giuntoli was getting almost handcuffed by the business prior as he had so many guys going into final year or contracts extend or just expiring. The contracts expiring, not so much a problem because a lot of them we just wanted to say goodbye to. But we always said, is he going to find himself in situation with top assets like Chiesa repeatedly again? And a lot of people were putting that situation on him. Funny enough, Giuntoli gave a really solid interview with Corriere dello Sport, and he talked about the Chiesa thing and simply said, hey, we were straightforward with him. He was out of the project, is what it is. We don't gain anything from that interview because obviously we all knew he was out of the project, but he never actually said why they deemed him out of the project, which is the big question that will always remain. As far as this, 16 out of 26 players on 4 years or more, Giuntoli's definitely solidifying things for the long term, and then we'll have to follow how he moves accordingly. The other part, really, there's nothing to say about Imbangula other than he could be one of these names. Are you curious we haven't seen more given how he started? Or is it way more crucial to get your top guys firing? Because some people have asked, why haven't we seen Imbangula after the red hot start? How do you guys feel about it? Is there an issue or you got to get your key guys going ahead of them?
Well, after those two starts, his later two matches where he actually had an appearance, he wasn't that good. The level was a bit higher, and he didn't manage to function the same way he did. Also, we didn't have any wingers, and not even Coop miners. So it was a nice surprise. He'll still be useful in the roster, but yeah, there are guys who are getting paid more and cost us a lot more that we bought for that role specifically. I'm sure we'll see him more, but he's not front of the line for me. It's fine. He's a youngster. Let him grow.
And Lucci and Trim, you feel the same way? Absolutely no issues?
I think Omer nailed it on the head. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Got to get the
Yeah,
key guys fired.
yeah, not much else to add. Just you want the big guys going, so that's why with the likes of Luiz not getting as much game action as we'd probably like to see, we find that a little bit interesting. So something's going on.
Hey, we definitely got to get in with the Luiz talk. Cabal, we saw it in the first comment on the video today here. What's going on with these guys? We'll get to it. I do want to wrap up a little bit more out of Giuntoli's interview. What was interesting, a couple notes that I just made. Malta and Plan B. So, first off, there's a lot of outlets that shared the news and just literally put the quote there. So everybody's panicking, thinking that, what? Giuntoli's got a plan B. Not now. This was from the Mercado that he was speaking on, this past Mercado, because at the beginning, it wasn't a certainty we were getting Malta. It was up in the air. So Giuntoli was asked the question if he had an alternative, and he stated, yes, had an alternative. What I found interesting was you have a lot of, and obviously history says, very rare foreign managers, right? So what was interesting about this one is he said, yes, we had one. It was a foreign manager, and he's still active in Europe currently right now as we speak. Obviously not giving a name because said coach is currently active in Europe, but I found that interesting that he was ready to go foreign, all right? Because there were a couple names on there, and they were somewhat dismissed as being legit options because they were foreign. So I found that one interesting. Then the other one, he spoke to Calafiori, obviously, and he just said it's not a regret for Juve, but Italian football. And this is something I think we can all agree on. You want to keep the top talents in your country. And he said all the big clubs signed defenders. He wasn't one of them. And everybody did. Napoli did. I think Inter brought in one, if I'm not mistaken, a cheap one, albeit, but I think they brought in a cheap one. Milan, everybody did. Juve did as well. And it wasn't him. Price, we got to look at that. So Giuntoli was right there. But the big one, Dusan Vlahovic. And he said no problem there. The renewal, he says it's a plan. Like it's an idea. He's like, it is done. Like we want to make it happen. It is a goal for us. And he says there's no problems there. And what do you guys, the funny thing there is that actually helps him sell too. Renewal, spreading out the money, making it lower annually, actually still helps him sell there. But if you take a man for his word, it's not a problem, and they are looking long term. Are you buying it, or is it kind of the vibes of what he was saying with Allegri last season?
Nah,
I think he's just trying to keep the peace, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he's keeping
100%.
it quiet. Yeah.
100%.
I'm not buying it right now, that's for sure.
Yeah. It feels totally like PR stuff. Right, Omer?
Yeah. Yeah, well, first he gives himself some breathing room with all these renewals. Pinsolio can sign until he's 60 for all I care. And the same with Dusan, yeah, avoiding another Chiesa case. And all this Dusan thing has taken center stage, and it's not benefiting not Juve and not Dusan. We kind of need to leave it aside a bit and let it grow, and let's see where it goes, because it's just fine. 5 bad games, only 2 goals and an assist. 6 games, still a long way to go in the season. When everything's said and done after 38 matches, then we can actually think about it. And I mean, how many number 9s are there that are top class right now in the world? It has become a really tough position to fill regardless, and just be good at it because of the low block, because defenses are so trained these days, especially in Italy. And just being a lone guy in front of a back three when all the other ones are doing all the running and trying to find a way to pass you the ball in, that's a tough ask. I mean, let's not downplay the role Dusan is asked to play. And yeah, it's fine when guys do that in Portugal or some other leagues, but still, yeah, like Apex said, he's a man. He's just a man, and things can get better, things can get worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, named Swarit named top four here. Lautaro has yet to score this season. Osimhen didn't find a club who was willing to pay for him, which also signals something interesting for Vlahovic. Who's going to pay the money and the salary we want for a misfiring striker? Unless he does start firing, and then we want to keep him. And Holland and Kane are basically the guys. And after that, the names like drop massively. So it seems like kind of forgotten that what a tough ask it is for Duchamp and the role he's asked to play.
We got like it's imperative to get him going. We'll talk about
Absolutely.
the lineup going into this game today because a lot of the question marks immediately after the latest draw against Napoli were, hey, do you go without? And Motta was reported to be looking at playing a different setup without an actual true 9 and going to that. But as the week's gone on and we get in here, Vlahovic, you've got to get it going. It may feel like it's being forced, but you have to get a breakthrough. Motta remains, and he said a couple things in his press conference that I've been saying in these past draws. And he says, we need Vlahovic, but Vlahovic needs the team as well. And he's like, everything's got to work, but he says we have to get the numbers up there to find the breakthrough. Hopefully, he is a little bit more courageous in approach with the actual numbers. But we're going to talk about players, their roles specifically, and how certain guys could potentially help trying to crack the park bus. Because we're going to tell you guys straight up before we even get to like Genoa Juve, but we knew this immediately. And the history's been there for a couple of years now with Alberto Giardino and his work with Genoa. It's 3-5-2. Get ready for those 5 guys straight across the back, okay, and a low line. So we got to find the answer. But we're going to keep things moving in the news. Everybody, we've got the Coppa Italia opponents set up. It starts with Cagliari. You can see here after that, Fiorentina, Empoli, Bologna, Monza, and then Atalanta, Cesena. Well, that's about as good a half a bracket you can get if you're looking to retain your title. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Absolutely.
100%.
Couldn't pick it out better yourself.
Yeah, you couldn't handpick that thing any better. So there's the run for Coppa Italia. We're going to put everybody on the spot right now. Lucci, are we retaining the title?
I'll say yes.
Yes. Trim, we retaining the title?
I'm going to say final. We're getting to the final. That's as far as I'm willing to go because it's a one-off game.
So you're going to guarantee the final. Okay.
I'm going to
I was
guarantee
thinking that
final.
too, Trim. I was thinking that too, but I wanted to be positive. So shame on you.
Well,
Shame on you. Shame on you. Omer, we retain him?
Usually Juve do quite well in the Coppa. They usually get eliminated by one of the top teams, and since we don't necessarily meet anyone till the final is like the easy bet. Yeah, we're retaining it.
Okay, let's have some fun and let's go through this because Mark's already laying it out. Coppa Italia will be Juve Inter final. Let's go through this here. On the opposite side, Milan Sassuolo. I'll go Milan comfortably there.
Milan.
yeah, Milan.
Roma Sampdoria.
Roma.
You got confidence in Juric there getting the job done to Sampdoria. I'll say Roma.
Yeah.
Lazio Napoli.
Napoli.
I'd expect Napoli.
Lazio.
Napoli.
Lazio.
Yeah.
Lazio with the upset. There you go.
Oh.
Inter and Udinese, who's off to a little bit of a kickstart here in Serie A this season. Surprising.
Well, they play each other as we speak, and Inter has already scored
So
the first minute.
Inter, and we'll say Napoli with the majority. You're going to have Roma and Milan. So Milan and Roma,
Milan.
Milan's going to win that one, yeah.
majority will go Milan. And then you have Inter and Napoli.
I'm going to take Napoli.
I will say they take them out because I think Inter's focus will be elsewhere this season.
Conte strikes back and he beats his former team. I can see it.
Exactly.
So Napoli, Milan, in the final.
By the way, Lazio for me eliminate Inter.
Okay, so you're gonna have Lazio going through.
Yeah.
So
Really?
semifinals.
Interesting.
Who's making the final there? Whether you have Milan, Napoli, Milan, Lazio.
Lazio, I believe. I think Lazio are making it to the final.
I'm taking Napoli to the final, to be honest.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, with the way Milan's been playing lately, I really like a lot of those players.
They haven't played a top side. Like,
That's the thing, though. That's the kicker.
okay,
Yeah.
they beat Inter. I get it.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the
Inter
other
hasn't
side.
impressed
Don't
me
worry
this
about that
season.
anyways, because let's just say they're going to be another victim, okay? But we don't see Inter, none of us see Inter making the Coppa Italia final. I think their focus will be elsewhere. Us, Juve Cagliari, Juve. Fiorentina, Empoli. I'm going to actually take Empoli.
I'm going to take Fiorentina.
I think Fiorentina, and we'll get it then.
Omer?
Empoli is interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
they're-
go with Empoli.
They're playing well. I'm going to go Empoli. Bologna, Monza.
I'm
I
going to take
think it's
Monza.
Monza.
I think I'm going to take Monza too.
Yeah, I
think
think
it's
they can surprise.
Atalanta, Cesena. Atalanta.
Clown show, as Skanga calls them.
And then Monza, Atalanta. I'm going to go Atalanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atalanta.
Empoli, Juve. A tough
0-0.
one. Can end 0-0. That's the bright side, so we'll get the job done. And then Juve, Atalanta, good little semi there. So that's how we think it's going to shape up. Let's see, but the Coppa Italia is set, and like I said, it ain't going to get better than that if you're Juve. So we'll see what happens there. Other news, Pesotto. Pesotto is going to be in the board of directors. Beautiful. The story continues there with Pesotto and Juve. So we love that. And now, guys, we got to get to the goods. Genoa, Juve. We got to get the 3 points. Okay, we could see what's going on in the table. The draws are fine. I mean, we're undefeated. The defense hasn't been solved yet, which is fantastic. But it's time to take care of business because 1 point only goes so far. And as we're seeing, this thing's up for grabs this season. So it's time to start getting these 3 points. The key storylines, obviously, as everyone has been talking about, is this lineup and what Motta's going to do. First, we look at Genoa. So very few fitness-related issues for Giardino. Ekuban suffering from a muscular injury that could keep him out. Junior Messias is also apparently supposed to be out of this clash. Last week, Malinovsky, if you saw that one, that was...
brutal.
Some say...
That
we
was.
all remember what he did to Yildiz last year. And some say karma's a bitch. But nasty one for Malinovsky. Definitely season over there. Not for weak stomachs there if you're watching that injury. In terms of Meretti, we could see Meretti in action today. Play against him because he might need to call upon him. But the projected lineup for them, it's up in the air because Giardino most likely going to go in the middle with Thorsby, Bade, and Frendrup. At the back, it's going to be the standard Vogliacco, Bani, and Vasquez. And we know he's going to go 3-5-2. Golini in goal. Vogliacco, Bani, Vasquez, Sabelli, Frendrup, Bade, Thorsby, and Martin across the middle. Pina, Monti, and Vitinha up top. But the big thing here is him staying... staying consistent, okay, with what he does against bigger sides. It ain't going to be open for anybody that's hoping that. 3-5-2, park the bus. That's what's going to happen. For Juve, guys, was Motta kidding around? Or was he straight up? He goes from giving you nothing, and he gives you the full lineup. Just out of the... He goes, I have it done. Do you want to hear it? And he's laughing about it. So everybody's like, oh, I think he's just messing with media. But I don't think he would do that to the players. So I'm thinking he's legit. Like, I'm thinking he's not kidding around. He was joking because I think they know they didn't expect it. And he knows they don't expect it. And he's got it ready. He's just like, you know what? Here we go. And he dished it out. It's Pedin. Danilo, Kalulu, Bremer, Rohi, so no Cabal, McKenny, Fagioli, Gonzalez, Cope Miners, Yildiz, Vlahovic. So we go from hearing Douglas Luiz is having great sessions all week, trying to integrate himself into this team, okay? And then you get into Cabal, who had a great start to the season, not being able to get in. Guys, anything you would change and your thoughts on this actual lineup? We're going to start this one with Lucci and go around.
That midfield too really scares me. I don't know where the defensive, like, those two together, I just don't see it. But hopefully I'm wrong, I guess, if that's what we are going with. Other than that, I'm okay with it. Cabal is still an interesting one since he can't find any minutes, but whatever. It is what it is. I'm not too concerned about that.
Okay. Trim, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Lucci in the sense that I'm curious about that two-man pivot with Fagioli and Weston. The only thing I can think of is that Weston's going to be the quote-unquote muscles in that two-man pivot and try to rely more on the defensive phase, and maybe we'll get Fagioli up higher to try to help out the three in front with Coop, Yildiz, and Gonzalez. But that being said, my big focus, and I said it in the AJC Army chat yesterday, is I'm going to really be honing in on Nicolo Fagioli today because I feel that he can be a really big X factor. And I know he hasn't really gotten the minutes per se, but if he's going to make an impact on this team, he's going to have to do it in limited minutes because of the midfield that we have this year, right? So him getting the start and getting a chance over, let's say, a Douglas Luiz, I'm really hoping that he can have kind of a breakthrough game and show that he's, can be relied upon when needed. He may not get, as many minutes as he'd like in the starts he needs, but today is a big game for him. Again, I'm not going to go crazy if he does have a bad game, but it's just more of, it'll be interesting because he's getting a shot and it's like almost like Malta's dangling a carrot in front of him saying, okay, let's see what you got. And let's go from there. But as for the back line and everything else, I'm really not too concerned because, again, we're not discrediting Genoa in any way, but we've got Champions League this week, so we were expected to see some rotation. So these are the games where I want to see some of these guys like Rohi and even Danilo starting. I know a lot of people are probably losing their mind over that, but me personally, he's a veteran. I mean, he's not going to be asked to really do much. Just play your position, and that's it. And don't do anything too crazy. Like, again, he's got a job to do, and I think he can do it.
So we got a couple comments before we get to Omar's thoughts that kind of show you the contrast in how things are kind of looking. You've got Mark saying Genoa had a big clash against Sampdoria, which they lost, and they have some players missing. How can we lose this one? Is this the reason why Malta has a questionable lineup? Is the lineup questionable? We all kind of have some uncertainty there, focused around the middle. I've got some thoughts myself that I'll talk about, but he says, do not play with fire. There was another comment I see Michael actually removed there, but he said there's too much focus on the lineup. I don't know why it disappeared, but he had a really good comment and said there's too much focus on the lineup. Malta has said it's going to be brought in there based on training and merit. So he said, I'm not going to worry too much or question that. So it shows you both sides of the fence that the thought process is there around this lineup. But I myself do actually have some concerns because I don't think if you're going on 3-0 and you're about to face a team that literally does the blueprint for those 3 games, I don't want to leave anything in question. I understand you're going to play Leipzig in a tricky away game, but if we're looking past anybody, it's a little bit of a problem. This lineup, I think, could be seen as maybe feeling a little bit too comfortable. And Malta maybe is too comfortable at throwing debuts out there and throwing guys out there. Maybe he's a little too comfortable, but I'll get to that. Omer, with the contrast in those two, where do you kind of sit with this lineup?
Well, he obviously has Leipzig in mind in about 4 days. I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. Again, we were surprised a couple of times with his choices, and they usually worked out. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I'm guessing there's a reason. He has a reason, but still some questions. Cabal, I don't get why. Interesting without Cambiaso because he was like a driving force in all of our matches. Chance creation, pushing forward, always switching positions, and the Danilo Kalulu axis there. Who plays where? Who's the right back? Who's the center back?
It says
And what's the
Danilo's going to be right back and Kalulu will be center back.
Yeah, so
And
maybe you want Kalulu in like a Calafiori role, a bit more roaming forward and taking the ball out of defense. I don't know. There are some question marks there. The attack is the same attack we've had, which seem now to be the go-to. But Conceição is back. He's with the team, so we might get some minutes today, maybe some early subs, and just to get everyone involved. The midfield raises questions, which Mota will have to answer on the field, and especially if we drop points today. But if
and
we don't, then there are no questions.
this is where I get into the midfield, and it has nothing to do with the easy route. The easy route is to say Fagioli hasn't been good in his appearances so far, but it's not even that for me. The midfield issue I have is that it's most likely because Mota even addressed it in his presser. He's starting to give us the signals everywhere, and he says you're going to have to do it with numbers. I'm not expecting a two-man pivot of McKennie and Fagioli. I'm expecting a 4-1-4-1 and McKennie getting forward as well as Cope Miners. I don't know if Fagioli's the muscle to stabilize things in that when Genoa's going to be playing the counter game and everything, and a guy like Locatelli's been crucial at breaking it up. I'm not saying I'd play Locatelli because it's not even technically Thuram's game. Thuram can do it in a two-man pivot, whatnot, but I wouldn't even have Thuram as the sole guy playing back, but Mota's done it a few times this season, and honestly, if it were between the two, Thuram and Fagioli, to play that deep line role, if you want to advance the other two mids, I would choose Thuram. I think he's just got back. He's got a full week more now, almost 2 weeks of full training with the group. I thought this is a good game to probably get him in there if you want to do that. If you want to get Fagioli involved, I would have been fine with Thuram, Fagioli, Cope Miners and do that route and have Thuram. You got to have a little bit more muscle there. And I think McKennie's going to be more advanced in trying to worry about breaking them down. At the fullback role, I disagree that it's not that big a deal or no issue with Rohi in there because Cabal gives you something different. Different even than Cambiaso, who's been fantastic. And I'm not going to knock on Cambiaso, but it's the difference. It's a difference that Cabal can also get in centrally and whatnot, but he also looks to deliver crosses early and not late and not try to get advanced and then run tic-tac-toe style plays, which is more to Cambiaso's suiting. So Cabal and losing the early cross, we actually scored on one. And it was a great delivery and everything. And he looked up immediately and there was like, you still want to have that kind of element. And I would go with Cabal in this game. I think he'd have more of an impact than Rohi. This is not a knock on Rohi, and Rohi could prove me wrong and have a fantastic game. I know the Swedes out there are going to be rooting for him, just like Adam in the chat here. Hey, obviously, I'm not thinking he's going to fail us or anything or be a problem. I think he'll be just fine. But let's see I haven't seen much of him in terms of offensive prowess. And I don't expect much from Danilo on the other side in terms of offensive prowess. So I want to balance that out. And those are the only two things I have with this lineup that make me question it. That's it.
Well, it will give Yildiz more breathing room up top. Like either Cabal or Rui. If it's Rui, fine, but he will stay on the left, I assume. He wouldn't, push to the center like Cambiaso does, which kind of isolates Yildiz from the center, and he has to stay far left. So it will be interesting. Yeah, I prefer Cabal, mainly because of his ball retention stats, especially in the other team's half. but we might have, we might just find another guy who's worthy of, pushing for a role in the lineup, and that's a good thing. Another headache for Mota. Yeah,
Yeah.
could be interesting.
Haneen
just
says
wanna-
Roy's good going forward, and to be honest, and he's a good
Let's
crosser
go.
too. Hey, hopefully we see it.
Go.
Go. Fire away, fire away. In terms of what we see, Cope Miners has to be occupying away from the sidelines. I need him in the center of the pitch. We need to balance out the actual attack. That's one of my issues I've had in these draws. I don't know if you guys noticed as well, but when you watch a team that's a well-drilled, well-oiled machine try and break these things down, they don't leave any spaces unoccupied to keep the defenses honest and hold. Even if you're just holding a defender in that space, it gives the guy on the ball a little bit more time and or space to maneuver, to work with. We have to do that. No more leaving the center of the pitch completely vacant in behind the striker. And we have to do that, and we have to work through there as well. You can't abandon it. I want to see some of those adjustments in this one. I said Napoli was a little bit better than the previous draws against Roma and Empoli. Did you guys actually feel that way? And do you think we're going to see another step up in this one?
I think they did. We created some chances. We had the better chances, I think, other than that one free kick that they had at the end of the first half there with.
And Politano cutting in on a run down the side. That was a good opportunity too. That's probably it. But I still think Cope Miners was the best chance of the game.
Exactly. And we did create a little more, I think, going forward. And just to add on to like today's lineup, I think we might be breaking it down a little too much. At the end of the day, we have enough going forward that we should be able to beat Genoa. Like those guys, those four guys up top, the 3 and the 1, like should be no questions asked. Those are very good players, and they should be able to get it done.
We laughed about this yesterday in the chat. You know what I said about the word "should" in football? I hate it. It's one of the worst words in football, and I feel like over the past 3 years we've said that so much. Yeah, we should. We should have enough to get the job done. Yeah, well, that's why we play the games. So hopefully, though, you are right. There's more than enough there to get the job done.
There should be no more excuses for these. Well, especially for Vlahovic. Like he needs to get it going, and this is the game to start getting on the road here. I don't want to hear no more excuses. I think a lot of us are starting to lose our patience with him. So,
and no fans in the stadium. That's a plus. Look, that's a tough venue.
All fans, because there was question whether it's just home or if it's home and away fans. Is it? And it was supposed to be ruled yesterday.
To be
Do
honest,
we have
I
the
have
final
no idea.
ruling?
No, it's Italy. They can announce it 10 minutes before the match.
Yeah.
They'll have everybody outside the
idea.
stadium and
Yeah.
then say, yeah, you're not getting in, so that there's a riot.
Someone
Or even
come up
more
with a megaphone.
issues.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
Listen,
my God.
in terms of Vlahovic, because obviously he's on the starting lineup, a lot of scrutiny there and whatnot. It's a combination of both. We've been pretty clear in our analysis that it's not just Vlahovic. It's the team game. Again, going back to occupying the middle of the pitch, and that helps him as well. And when we leave that area around him empty with no other threats, it makes it very easy. But from him, from a personal standpoint, you got to be tougher mentally. Mm-hmm. You got to be way tougher mentally. You got to find a way to help your team and do something, anything that helps us. And for him coming out and admitting that, okay, that's great. I appreciate that and the accountability, but you know what? Get over it. Like, let's go. And this is where the patience is running thin. When you have some fans that have said, look, he does this all the time. He goes through this, then he'll get firing. It is a problem on its own. If we say that this happens all the time, we can't just brush it off. Like, there comes a point where it's too much. Time to rein it in. I'm happy if he just finds a way to get his job done and help the team move forward up the pitch and be a thorn in defenders' sides. Mm-hmm. And just have a strong game. Just be a big physical presence and
What
Create
I
problems.
want
That's
him
all you
to
got to do.
do.
Create problems. It's not even about scoring goals. And all the talk, all the media headlines, and even a lot of fan discussion, it's goals, goals, goals. I'm beyond that. Like, just help your team
Get
in some
involved.
way.
Yeah.
So,
You can have a great match as a striker without scoring or assisting, which is what I want Dushan to do. I feel like he kind of makes it easier because he's always up there alone. He's very static. He's very central, which makes it pretty easy against, especially against three-man backline. I want to see him move. If that defender is glued to your back, pull him out of his position. Drift left, switch positions with whoever, with Gonzalez, with Yildiz. Also, a good chance to see how they operate more centrally, but use that to your tactics and to push the other team to places they haven't, gotten ready
yeah.
for
And
and
it's
worked on.
on top of that, it's just some of the touches too and the passes. It's just like no conviction, no it's
He's
just sad.
unlucky to not be on more goals out of the first two games, because the first game he was snake bitten. Should have had more goals, okay?
Yeah.
But there's a couple, and the Champions League, he had a good game. I said he had a good game. A lot of fans didn't believe he had a good game, but he did have a good game in Champions League. But then it's like, it's Jekyll and Hyde. That's the problem. That's the problem. What are you going to get from this guy? The one that looks and appears to be a beast, or the one that looks like a mental midget? It's like, what are you getting? That's the issue, everybody.
Yep.
I don't want to hear about crosses. This is hilarious. Once Mota starts doing crosses, then blame him. The same fan base that was complaining about just spamming crosses into a low block last season, or just like spamming crosses in general, now we have to just spam crosses in there to him. No, he likes the early ball. He likes to be running on defenses and whatnot. Open games. We've said it the whole time. For everyone that's getting defensive on Vlahovic, pump the brakes, take it easy, because we said in open games he won't be an issue, and he's not. We know his game. He likes running at defenses, early balls in so that he can attack them in the area. But guess what? The majority of games for a club like Juve are not like that in Italy. So we got to see what happens. As far as him starting, I would have started him. So
Yeah,
for everyone that was saying leading up to this, no, go a different route, try Yildiz up top there, I said I still don't like our setup without an actual target guy at the front. So I would not have done it. I'm happy he's starting. I would have started him. Would you guys
I
have
think there's
looked
also
differently?
Yeah, I think there's also a chance here to gain some points because no one is actually taking advantage of everyone dropping points, and we have yet to concede. We just need Dushan to start scoring. We just need to see something different. What he has done so far doesn't work. Seems to be too easy to mark. Find a different way. He's still our striker. He's still our top earner. Cost us a lot of money, and he can be a real good asset. Just need to crack that up, crack that code, and find a way to get him more involved, and we're rolling. But I wouldn't try false nines, etc. right now.
Yeah.
I'll do that after we gain, I don't know, like a 5-point gap. Then I'll start experimenting a bit. But it's not the be all end all. I mean, Milan has started the season horribly. Now they're second place with one more game than the rest, but they recovered quickly.
In the last game too, I talked about cross quality. It was poor. It was really bad. Like they didn't come close to hitting anybody.
Last season, Mota had the least amount of crosses in the entirety of Serie A. Like he was 20th for crosses.
Yeah.
He just doesn't like that type of game.
Exactly. But there's a time and place, and one of the other things I want to highlight in some of the struggles we have, I think, in breaking these teams down is we've slowed down on quick transitions throughout these games, throughout these draws. It's like, okay, push, go, go. And then all of a sudden it's like one guy decides I'm pulling back. And the D just gets set up. And it looks like there's an opportunity there. And you do see Vlahovic and other attackers as well, Yildiz being one of them, throw their hands up kind of like let's go. Like, why didn't we go? Why are you turning back? I've seen that a couple times too. That has to change.
Yeah.
You've got to, if you're going to face these teams, when you get those rushes, you have to attack. You can't stop and slow up and let them get set up. You have to go at them. So
Long
that's something
shots.
else that has to be factored in. We'll see if Malta takes a step up this game because, hey, it can't keep going this route. The pressure's going to pick up.
On Skanga's point here. He's had 0 service. Okay, somewhat true. But yes, he definitely needs to work harder. And strikers that are making $12 million should be able to do that. Regardless.
He's not, but see, look at the second part of this. He has to work harder to create his own chance. That's not his game. It just flat out isn't his game to create his own chances. He's not that guy.
No, but he needs to be an important part of the build-up. And
Exactly.
When he gets the ball, he usually loses it. That's
Exactly.
the problem.
And that's what I'm talking about. Is that it's a lot
You
more
can't get
than that.
all the
It's-
balls comfortable in the area.
You have this player. It's about working him in, finding a way. That's what Mota's got to do. It's on Mota just as much as it is Duchamp. It's on both of them. I'm very happy John has made it in today. We have to wish Gigi, his son, a happy birthday, all right? So 13th birthday today, and we all wish him all the best on his birthday. Gigi, big fan of the show and supporter of the AJC. Much love today, and hopefully Juve brings you a victory, all right? And we got to talk about this game now, break it down a little bit further as far as the numbers go. Last season, well, Genoa unbeaten against Juve in the last 3. So the last 2 last season, we got 0-0. Guys, remember who got sent off in that one?
Ooh, wait.
Double yellow?
Double yellow.
Oh, Milik, right?
No.
Was it?
No.
Or no? Oh, not that.
No. Milik was against Empoli.
Yeah, Giratila, the exact guy we just were talking about. So Vlahovic got sent off in this the second fixture, this one last season, double
Yeah,
yellow.
remember it.
It was Vlahovic. And then we had a 1-1 earlier on in the season. And do we remember the goal scorer in that 1-1?
Oh, wait, that was away.
Was it Vlahovic?
No.
I don't know who else scored. Rabiot?
Swarik got it. It's another one where we won't. It's Fede. It's a Fede bag, that one. So 2 draws last season. And actually, Genoa had they were a thorn in the big club sides because of exactly everything we've talked about today. That bus, okay?
Yeah.
Going into this game, like we said, Genoa unbeaten the last 3 against Juve. But they have coming back on a couple losses now. Okay, so Juve should pounce. No fans in the stadium, apparently. Juve winless in their last 3 Serie A games, but again, not conceding. All draws. And Juve remain the only club in Europe's top 5 leagues to have not conceded a goal in league play this season. Guys, it's time to throw down the predictions. Everybody in the chat, you know the drill. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. What do you think goes down today? Omer, kick us off.
I think we concede, and I think we win. 2-1. 2-1.
Okay.
I think Dusan will have a good game, but he won't be on the score sheet. He'll have an assist. You know what? A Danilo goal from set piece. And Yildiz gets one.
Danilo and Yildiz. You know what? That's bugging me too. The fact that we go from a couple years of being so strong on set pieces, and we got nothing. We got nothing there this season. No threat. That's got to change. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Trim, it's time for your prediction.
Okay, I'm going to go 1-0 Juve. I think Mr. Harry Potter himself, Weston McKennie, gets the goal.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with, for the second tiebreaker, we'll go with...
What's in
Let's
your
go
mind,
with
Luch?
8 yellows.
As soon as
How
I heard
many
McKinney,
yellows?
that's all.
8 total.
8 total yellows. Holy
I think it's
smokes.
going to be just a scrap fest. Everybody's just going to be laying the body.
All right, Luch, you're up.
And without even checking the referee's shit. Don't know who it is, but
I'm gonna go 2-0 Juve. I'm gonna go. You know what? I tweeted out yesterday. I'm gonna give Coop a goal
Okay.
for one of them, and I will do Genoa over 2.5 cards. So at minimum 3.
Genoa at 3. Okay. All right, let's take a look at what we were cooking with out here. So Ash jumping on 0-0. Matt jumping on 0-0. Adam going 2-0. What's that? Juve 1-0. Fagioli. Joey 1-0. Cotomuso. Faraz 3-1 Juve. Matteo 2-1 Juve. Coop and Nico. All right. Sorry, just win. Yes, obviously, just win, please. Xavi 3-0 for Juve. We got Calogero with a 0-0. Giradina 70. 2-1 Juve. Cope and Dushan with the goals. Michael coming in here. 2-0 Juve. Dushan Yildiz. 1 goal each half. And not Lucci's burner account. 1-1. From Mr. Bucci there.
God damn.
2-0 Wing of Winter. Fagioli Kalulu. Skanga with the 4-0 Juve. Dushan double.
Fuck this guy.
Juve corner cast with the 2-0 Juve. I'm going to go... I don't think we concede. And I think I'm going to go, honestly, 1-0. I think it's going to be a scrappy, tight game. I do believe we'll find one in this one. I don't know if I have... I don't even know if Genoa opens up enough for us to get more than 1. I think it'll be a scrappy goal that we do get. I'm going to pick one of the mids scoring the goal. So I'll throw Colt Miners on his first goal for Juve. So let's go with that. 1-0. Colt Miners. And I believe... What should be another good second tiebreaker? It comes in... First half. So first half, 1-0. It ends 1-0. So it'll be a first half goal. And I'm going to call it between 28th and 35th minute. Colt Miners hits. So between 28th and 35th minute. 7-minute buffer. That's tight. 7-minute buffer, everybody. I don't know. But we got to get to some Storm the Barn questions, everybody. Okay? Get your Storm the Barns in. I actually have one to kick things off. It has to do with this game because it's another one of the storylines. We talked about all the other ones. Udinese Inter 1-1 right now, by the way, everybody. 38th minute. Oh, God. Come on, baby. Now, Luiz. He was the other player in question. We didn't spend a bunch of time in. How do you feel about this Luiz thing? We always ask because it keeps going and going and going, and you think you're going to get him in, and he doesn't find his way in. Are you concerned at this point in time? We're going to start this one with Trim. Are you concerned right now at this moment in time? Do you think it's strange? What are your thoughts?
I'm not concerned, but I am curious as to why he's not getting in. I know we discussed it a little bit last week's post-match pod. Just in terms of why, like dating back to even last week, we only made 2 subs. So that's another thing I'll be interested to see if Mota decides to roll with all 5 subs today. I would think he will, but obviously it's going to depend on the way the game plays out today. But with Luiz specifically, yeah, everybody's going back to, we went out, we paid the money to get him, albeit sending Illing Jr. the other way. and Barrenechea. But yeah, like it's just, for me, it's surprising that he hasn't even been able to get a few more minutes than what he's had. Like even today, as an example, like I wouldn't have minded to see him start, or even last week, just to kind of, because I think he can help break up that low block because he's creative. He can send those aerial balls through to hopefully get someone behind the defenders, or even make some nice through ball passes up to, either the mids or Duchamp for that matter. But yeah, it's a little surprising. But like, I'm not going to hit the panic button. The season's long. We've got a lot of games this year with the multiple competitions. So I'm hoping that once he does get in and finds his footing, he can kind of remain a staple that you can kind of plug in and out in certain situations and against certain teams and certain lineups. So, but I'm definitely not concerned. I think it's just more of a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a concern just yet, but it is a curious case.
Yeah.
Like something is happening there. Maybe it's fitness, maybe it's attitude. I don't know, but something is weirder, and I can't put my finger on why. Because we haven't seen him play that much, so it has to be something backstage. But I don't know what to make of it just yet. But still,
But what's strange
five
is
games
that
into the season,
he had good cameos. Like he had good cameos.
Yeah.
The Empoli start was not good, but the cameos were all good. It's a weird one for me. It's a weird one for me.
Yep.
If we're talking about, because I see the comment here, he's weak defensively for the Italian game. It's not like we've been killing it. It's more about what the previous game's been tight. He will be a monster. If you're about to go into a game and the numbers of this guy in the Prem League speak to his defensive prowess, he's got more defensive prowess than McKennie and Fagioli. And he's actually going to give you way more, I think, in terms of creativity in play. Yep. Definitely miles more than McKennie. McKennie gets his offensive prowess from either on the outside, crossing the balls in all last season, or running into the area and just creating issues. But
so here's a question: where do you want to see him more? Where do you think he'll thrive?
Luiz?
Further up, like in the Coop Miners role, or maybe a little further back, kind of similar to what Pirlo did.
And this is what I wanted to get into. For me, your midfield changes based on who's in there. For me, if Luiz is in there, you're in a 4-1-4-1 setup, and he's one of the advanced guys with a Cope Miners, with potentially a Fagioli. He's more getting up. If you're going to go with a two-man pivot and whatnot, I actually like one that's a little bit more robust, that has a guy that can drive out of there like Thuram and Luca, one further up. Fagioli, if he's going to be back in these games, that's where I question the defensive thing. So I think Fagioli's also in that 4-1-4-1 setup, where he's one of the two advanced over your deep line guy. So I think it changes. But for me, for Luiz, he needs that freedom to kind of get forward and everything like that, and he will be able to provide more defensive prowess than a few of these other guys, in my personal opinion. But the nice thing was, we were seeing, if you remember early on, we got a lot of interchange out of the midfield, a lot of rotation, and they were all kind of mixing it up, and it was almost like the opponents at the time had a tough time kind of figuring that out. That's kind of stopped, and the guys have kind of like become more rigid in where they go. I'm okay with it being rigid and everything, but you still have to mix that up, because one of the things that got brought up earlier was we go in these modes where we don't switch the field at all. And when we get so one-sided and just like predictable and just go into one flank, we lose that. And certain guys will look to do that. But when you had that fluidity in the middle, you got everybody that was kind of on it, and then the right guys would hit the ball and we could switch it. But we've gone through modes where we stay very rigid, stagnant, and then the play just kind of dies and slows down and becomes very, very one-dimensional. It's just something to keep an eye on. But for me, Luiz, I like to see him with a little more freedom getting forward. Lucci, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I think today would have been the perfect day to give him a start over McKennie. or even Fajoli for that matter, because I don't see him starting midweek in the Champions League match. It seems like the confidence in him there is very limited. So I'm not concerned yet. I'm just a little surprised. Like maybe it's taking him more time to get adapted to the Italian game compared to the EPL. Like we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'd like to see him definitely get some more minutes, like sooner rather than later. So we'll see what happens today.
Yeah. And it's funny because the concerns aren't really about him. It's more so like why, like if Motta's doing it based on merit, based on what exactly is going on. Spent a lot of money. It's a big ticket guy. You want to see him out there. So it's very, very interesting. But maybe Champions League. Maybe he fires out in Leipzig in a more open game as opposed to the Italian clampdown games. And maybe that's Motta's big plan for him. That could be it.
I actually want to see him a bit deeper.
You want to see him deeper, okay?
Yeah, kind of similar, like I said, to what Pirlo did. He didn't need to sprint. He didn't need physicality, which he didn't have. He was just always closer to the ball, getting out of tight situation with dribbling and spraying passes around. I think Luiz can do that. I'm not expecting him to burst forward like Thuram does. I don't think he has that quality. It's mainly ball control, breaking out of press, and if he has two like physical monsters of guys who just work hard, like Marquisio and Vidal used to do for Pirlo, then maybe it can work out. I would like if he doesn't, hit the ground running offensively, I would like to see him try it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he could play in all of those, in all the scenarios in our midfield. I'd like to see him with a little more freedom, kind of like what we've been doing with McKennie. Storm the Barn, Pierre. After Inter, who would be considered your favorite for the Scudetto this season? Trem.
So if you would have asked me at season start before the games actually started happening, I probably would have said Napoli. Based on the last few weeks, I'm leaning more towards Milan, not including us, of course, because obviously I'd be biased and I'd say us. But with the way that Milan's playing right now, some of those players can continue. Again, I know with Fonseca, it's not always pretty, not looking great, at least up until last week. But if they can kind of maintain the same form, they'll drop some points here and there. I think they've got just as good of a chance as anyone else. But I'll go with Milan for this case.
All right. Omer?
Yeah, I still think it's Napoli. Conte with one game a week.
Yeah, I agree with Omer, 100%.
You agree?
Yeah.
It's us.
Oh, of course. I didn't
For
consider
me, it's us. Yeah. I'm with Matt here. After Inter, it's us. What did I said something a couple weeks ago, and it was, for me, I don't see, I think it's up to us. I'm not sold or convinced on all these other teams. I'm not convinced on Napoli until I see them play the bigger teams, okay? And what they did against us tells me a lot too, because I think they're going to play the same style game against some of those other teams, and I think it ain't going to go their way. And for us, I think you play this game out later on in the season, if we sort out how to crack these teams, it's a completely different game. For me, it's us. It's us. We sort this out. This league is for the taking. For the taking. But out of the rest, let's count us out of it.
Yeah.
Probably Napoli. Probably. And I hate to say it. God, this friggin' Chihuahuas. Okay.
Jeez.
Georgie, if we beat Leipzig, I think we are primed to finish top 8 in the Champions League. Would you agree? Beating Leipzig would be, that would be massive. Massive tell for this club. That's a tricky away fixture. It would tell me a lot about how we're gonna. And remember, I still remember the question, and some people laugh, but Skanga asked it, and every now and again he's down for a good one. This was a good one, and he said, "Are we more built for Europe Are we better built for success in Europe than Italy?
I
Our
don't think it's the
game,
way we're built.
our
Like,
game plays to it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of the style of the game that leaves it more open, and then our guys can kind of shine. It's harder to shine against 90 minutes of low blocks and personal markings and stuff. And yeah, you have a lot more to lose, so you take like more risks in Europe. You have to win the match. And so yeah, right now we're better suited for Europe, but it again 5 games in, too early. But if we do beat Leipzig, we're currently leading in their own match.
Yeah, they're
Has a
up
bar game.
2-0 already.
Yeah, and they have a Benjamin Shesko, and
Yeah, that's very good.
if we do get rid of Dushan, like he's one of my top names.
100% agree, Omer.
I agree,
100%.
Omer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With him or Gyökeres, those are the two for me that I'd look at.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion. Cope, Luiz, and Nico were not good buys. Woo!
Strongly disagree, but that's the case
Still,
with unpopular
still too
opinions.
early.
Yeah.
Still too early, I think.
That's
I
why they
mean-
call it unpopular opinions, but I'm going to disagree as well. Yeah.
That's
Uh,
I don't know. I don't
the
know about
Nico one, Nico's got to do a little bit more in these closed off games too. He's in the lineup today too. I need more. Like, I'm not concerned about Nico like in that Champions League game when things are wide open. I have no concerns with the guy in these games. And again, it's the team. It's a collective. Because I said it's not all him, but his flank has been left. It's been the one with the stay-at-home fullback. He still has to figure out a way to not concede the ball cheaply with bad decisions, giveaways, etc. He's got to be stronger on the ball in these games and help crack the code, beat the bus. So, and as far as Luiz goes, I can't say it right now because I haven't seen enough. The cameos were all strong. It's just that Empoli start. But to be fair, a lot of the guys in that Empoli start didn't really reward Mota. So, yeah. But hell of an unpopular opinion. We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. Suarez coming in here. In my opinion, Cope should be the main man of the current Juve side, considering multiple facets of the game, and not Dushan or Kenan Yildiz. Agree, disagree. Who wants to start us off on this one?
Well, I think it's kind of the situation right now. Like everything seems to go through him, and yeah, I kind of feel like that's the situation, especially with Dushan having 6 touches in one half. And yeah, not a lot to add. I mean, what does the main man title mean? What do you expect to see on the pitch from the guy you declare as your main man? Then maybe I can answer it differently.
For me, if we're going to actually like look at labeling this, and that's why it's really a non-factor for me. All this over the years, media, center of the project type discussions and stuff. Well, we've seen how a lot of center of the project guys how their tenures at Juve have gone. I look more towards the collective, the group. And I've gotten the vibes since the early days with Giuntoli, even with Mota in a short period of time here, that it is about the collective. It's something that they continue to stress. It's not just about any one individual, but it's the group. Sacrifices have to be made for the group. Everything's very similar in terms of the ideology to somebody else, in case everybody hasn't put it together. But I'm trying my best this season to not say the other guy's name. Now, when you get to this, who cares? Main man, etc. If you're going to name a main man, though, it's the guy that you want to look to that is the driving force in the matches, that wants the ball, that isn't hiding, that even in difficult games, scenarios, circumstances, He's the guy that you're leaning on, that isn't shying away from the moments. I think it's clear, without picking on somebody, but the guy that should be the main man or one of the main men is falling significantly short in these. And we all know who I'm talking about. And it's just being real. It's not about picking on him. It's just being real. Yildiz, I'm not going to lean on a guy that young. I'm not. This guy still has to grow. He has to grow. He has to go through these. He has to figure out that the games aren't going to be wide open all the time. It's not going to be freewheeling and running and trying to dribble guys and get these shots off and score these awesome wonder goals. A lot of it's going to be a grind, like you've seen against Roma, Empoli, Napoli. And that's where I need to see you continue to climb. Cope Miners, this is why I strongly disagree with the first unpopular opinion we went to. He is one of the top midfielders in the league. That's why it was crucial for us to sign a guy like that, because that's the kind of guy you can lean on. He's not flashy. And a lot of people said, oh, he's not worth that money, whatnot. But he is smart, very intelligent in his movements, how he plays. And he can be a main man. So, to Swarit's point, I believe Cope should be one of the guys we lean on. And I believe he will be one of the guys we lean on in this team.
I think main men, that main men, they're just surprising. Like you can expect someone to be the main man. It's the guys who step up when needed, and it could be anyone. It could be any positions. We had times when it was Chiellini. We had times when it was Buffon. We had times when it was Mandzukic. He wasn't the main man on paper. Those were Higuain and Dybala. So yeah, main man is kind of a tricky one for me, at least, to pick.
But if you're going to look across this lineup, there are some guys that need to be main men.
Yep.
Bremer, who has been. Bremer's been one of the main men. Nobody can. So far, Luca has played to the caliber of being one of the main men. Cope Miners will be a main man. Out on the side, Conceição could enter the talk. His importance, his impact, if he can make the impact many of us believe, he could be in the mix to becoming one of these main men. In a game like this, in these low D-line, park the bus games, he could become crucial.
Yeah.
Let's see. Everybody's going to get their opportunity, though, to write that story for them.
Would you throw in Di Gregorio in that list as well?
Di Gregorio's got to be big because he's our number one guy. And honestly, that stop against Napoli was ridiculous. Slight deflection there, I think, from Rachmani. That was a crazy, crazy stop. So he's my guy. He was my guy when all the talks were Carnesecchi. I'm happy with Di Gregorio. Sick tattoo sleeve, by the way, too. Di Gregorio's unreal. And looks just like he's just a scary looking man. I like that in a keeper. I like it. Now, Forza Juve, who is the most underappreciated Juve player in your opinion? For me, Danilo. He has been our leader and a player that we could rely on during one of our darkest times. Who is the most underappreciated player at Juve currently? Who wants to kick this off?
Yeah, well, it has to be not one of the new guys. And I agree with Danilo, to be honest. As bad as the past seasons were, he got a lot of praise. He had a lot of games, especially against Napoli and Inter, where he was massive and even got praise from other fans. Inter fans, Juve fans won't admit it, but Danilo is class. And I agree. I don't think he's a bad player. It's just there's something against him. I don't know why. Danilo first.
Okay, Danilo for Omer, Danilo for Adam there. Trim, who's your most underappreciated?
So a lot of good shouts in the chat, and for me, I'm actually going to put myself on the spot too, because I fall victim of considering this guy, or writing him off, so to speak. I know he doesn't get a lot of minutes, but for what he is and like kind of the job that he provides for us, I'm going to go with Weston because I was very bullish on him. It's very easy to just say, he's shit and he's not that good and, what's his purpose? But you know what, man? He's really changed my opinion of him this season so far. Again, albeit in limited minutes, limited action, but the guy's like a cat. He's got 9 lives. He just keeps coming back. He's just hanging around. He's doing his job, doing his thing. Doesn't complain from what we know, like publicly at least. Behind closed doors this summer, we heard some rumors about what was going on his dad on Twitter, all that. But like for what he brings and what he provides, he's just a no-nonsense guy. Just keeps his mouth shut, does what he needs to do. And like I said, I'm willing to put myself on the spot too here because, again, I was one that heavily criticized him. But I think that, for what he brings and what he does, he's proven me wrong and just doing his job.
Yeah.
Can't ask for much out of someone that's just, is doing his thing, and he's been good. I've been impressed.
Yeah, like a cat with 9 lives, or like herpes, one way or another, he doesn't go away, right?
That's right.
Whatever your take on him is, but I'm kidding. Wes is actually a good shout, man. And hey, I had to come out and eat my words after the start because I said in that one game I wouldn't have played him. And man, he's throwing it down. There's a reason Malta is going and making these decisions. While we spend time talking about these starting lineups, hey, Malta's the one deciding. Malta's got no fear. He will throw out surprises. He doesn't care. So, hey, whoever's in that lineup, deliver. Lucci, who's your most underappreciated?
I'm actually going to go with the person who started the season as the captain, Mr. Gatti. I think a lot of people wrote him off last season with, he's limited in certain areas. So people are expecting way too much out of a player that's not, he's not a dribbler. He's not going to get forward and make it look pretty, but he's doing his job. He's doing it well. And he obviously, Mata sees something with him, in the, behind the scenes to lead this team as the captain. So I think he's definitely an underappreciated player. And he comes last year anyways, he came up with those late crucial goals out of nowhere, even though he scored an own goal, but we won't talk about that.
He took you through the ringer last year, man. He would go to the highest of highs and take you right back to the lowest of lows, within a matter of 2 minutes. But this year, hey, it's just been this. It's just been climbing rung by rung by rung. So Gatti's a good shout. He looks completely different as a player. So
which we haven't talked about him not playing, which is interesting today. Yeah, he was injured.
He'll play midweek, I think.
Yeah, he'll be playing. He just got back from the ankle knock. He also had the birth of his daughter. So big congrats there to Gattoni there. I think it's okay. And Kalulu, honestly, has just slotted in like...
True.
Kalulu has been massive.
It's been incredible. Incredible. So great stuff there. And yes, in the news as well, a lot of rumors that Juve is going to jump the gun on signing that player. Another piece that was in the news too was Conceição, which we'll talk about in a second. But for me, I think you guys are going to know where I'm going with this one because I've been dying on this hill. It's Luca for me. Yeah. Underappreciated. I even think that through his good performances this season, it's still underappreciated. I still think he's underappreciated. And I think it says a lot for all these guys. Again, like I said with Weston, like I'm willing to concede with him. If Malta's making these decisions and he's going with these guys, it's for a reason. Locatelli was one immediately said to be, he ain't starting. He's below Fagioli. He's below, they had him on the bottom of the totem pole. Lo and behold, he's probably sitting out today because of Champions League, and Malta sees him as crucial. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Luca. He's been big this season. So, hey, let's keep it rolling. That's all good. That's all good stuff. Now, Conceição. What I was gonna bring up with Conceição, Juve's looking at trying to sign this guy 15 to 20 before it gets to the end of the season. Some fans, no need to jump the gun. Other fans just get it done. At 15 to 20 million euros, what are you looking to get?
Yeah.
It's a steal.
Yeah.
So for me, you don't lose. So
Yeah.
usually I'm like, hey, there's no rush. But to be honest, if you're going to save on that 30 million release clause, that becomes 45 in August. 15 to 20 is a no-brainer. You're not going to lose on Conceição on 15 to 20. So
Yeah, the issue is money. And yeah, like I think we spent everything we had in the summer. We need to make room for some more money to make this early signing. It goes the same way for Kalulu. There's also been rumored to Juve want to purchase him already.
yeah,
But someone who has to be sold, like maybe our tour in January will make available
hope,
funds
yeah.
for it. Yeah, I don't see where the money is coming from now. Maybe qualifying to the next round of the Champions League will allow that with the money that comes along. But I think it's a bit too early to make those purchases. But I'm not Juve's accountant. Maybe they have the money and they can sit it right now.
yeah. We'll see what goes down. If Danilo leaves in January Mercado, will he be making space for a newcomer, a striker? Well, this Storm the
No.
Barn is well led, Mark, okay? You're leading it very, very nice because we all know what the rumors are. The rumors are that Danilo, even Artur, could be saying goodbye. In one way, shape, or form, everything that we're gathering is that Giuntoli's going to look to strike on Jonathan David in January. And you got to make space for that, obviously non-European. But yeah, there's heavy talks happening that that's going to be the play. And that Giuntoli's going to strike in January. I was also hearing that don't be surprised if there's a couple moves in January from Giuntoli. And I just heard that one yesterday. And the interesting part about it was they were saying it's one of the moves is a return. And that's all they said. Giuntoli is looking at a potential return in January. That's all. That's all I was left with. These guys are just pricks. They just leave you hang. They just reel you in. And then they
So
just
what options
leave you
do we
there.
have as returns? Like
I think I got one. I got one fired
Julia?
up.
MDS?
No. Lord Bernadeschi.
No.
I don't want him,
Okay.
but I'm
No
saying
chance.
that's if we're talking returns, he's the only one I can think of because it's going to be their off season.
No. He can keep being an island boy in Canada.
He
We
can
don't
stay.
need him.
Yeah, no, I don't want him again. I'm just saying, like for possible options though, like it's their off season MLS. So I mean, he's been rumored in the past about a possible return. Like he's literally the only
That's
one
true
that jumped.
too.
in
Yeah,
line.
I honestly I can't put it together. I was thinking about this and I can't think about it. I
Again,
can't wrap my head around who the return would be.
Again, I don't want him, but
Maybe they're
he would-
considering Pogba the return. Maybe they have good news on the
Dybala.
verdict there.
Sule. Yeah, one of those guys. Like if I'm Sula right now, I'm calling my agent, get me out of Rome. I have nothing to do in Juric's setup. He's playing 3-5-2.
Yeah.
What
Second
a
striker,
yeah,
like
that sucks, man.
got shot in the foot there.
I
with
love
the
it.
Rossi.
I love it.
Now, Mark coming in here. Don't you think we should congratulate? Oh yes, that was actually a big one there. Great showing from the women's side there. We used to have back before her schedule got so packed. I used to love Lex covering the women's side and giving you that weekly breakdown on everything going around. Yeah, Lex is busy. She's actually away this weekend playing as well. But we're gonna start sharing some of the clips, man. She sent a clip of one of her goals. It was awesome, a free kick goal. So yeah, the women's side's it's a good follow. It's good follow, and it's good to see them thriving. That was a big win there for them. So big congratulations going out to them. We got a couple more Storm the Barn here before we wrap things up, getting into the game. And again, reminder everybody, there is a live watch along, all right? It'll be 20 minutes before kickoff. That's basically about an hour and a half from now. We'll reconvene and get ready for this game. Dusan continues to be streaky. Would you sell him in January and bring in Jonathan David? I am not a fan of Jonathan David as the outright man. And I don't see anyone coming in January for where we would kind of be. No, it's he rides this out to season's end. This is Vlahovic's season to show us. Mm-hmm. So, no, for me, I don't get rid of him in January. But I do look to bring in a vice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not like Dushan or Jonathan David. I think that's just bad business.
Yeah, if we're going to rely on Jonathan David, we're in lots of trouble. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not... So, okay, the Jonathan David thing. Trim's hot on Jonathan David and Lucci is not... I'm like... I could see why Juve would do this. You're picking a guy up that has... And I understand strength of leagues, but he's got solid numbers. Past 2 years, he's been in good form.
Okay, where's he playing?
It's a cheap deal. Yeah, but you know what? No matter where you're playing, you got to deliver. Do you want to go look at the guy that's not scoring in the French league, or do you want the guy that is burying in the French league?
Fair. Has he delivered on international stage?
In the Coppa.
He's actually been the best out of the bunch there. And again, it's Canada.
Well, that's Canada. What I mean. He should be delivering for Canada. Like who they're playing.
Really? I don't think so. Canada, like expecting Canada to do much against any of these sides, I don't really know. Does he miss opportunities here and there? Yeah, all top guys do though. We've gone through a guy that makes insane amount of money compared to David. David as a vice Vlahovic, I don't think there's anything to bat an eye about.
No, a depth option, sure, but he's not the option. And I agree with Skanga. It'll be a completely different French league coming to play for Juve in Serie A. It's very different.
Sure.
He's going to have a rude awakening.
Osimhen made that move. It took him.
But find me a 24-year-old striker on a free that's going to come in for like $4 million.
Yeah, I don't got any.
That has 37 goals over 2 seasons.
I'm not saying it's bad business. I'm just saying I think if we think he's going to be the guy, then we need to readjust our thinking here because he's not going to be the guy.
No.
Did we think Gatti was going to be the guy at CB this year?
Yeah.
No. No chance. There's always surprises. But again, from a financial point of view, I understand. Am I big on David? No. But again, until somebody provides me, somebody that's on a free, that'll come in at that salary, that has that amount of goals, no matter where the hell you're playing, to your name, I need to see another option. As a top guy, there's names we could look at.
Yeah.
And then that's a different story. But right now, as a vice, when you're coming on the backside of Moise Kean and Milik, Jonathan David shouldn't be ridiculed, in my opinion, when those have been the vices.
No, I think, like I said, as the president of the Jonathan David fan club, you're not making that straight sale for Vlahovic and bringing David. David, I actually think could pair well with Vlahovic with 2 up top, but the thing is we got to change formation. Or you can slide him off onto the wing. That's what I like about him, his versatility.
And is David ready to be a starter for a huge club like Juve?
Not a starter.
Yeah, I think as a rotation, he's fantastic as a rotation, in my opinion. Yeah. Good rotational player, good deal that you're not going to lose on, and it might pay dividends. Got to take some risks. That's low. That's kind of low risk because you're not dumping money into it. Even if you were going to get him in January, the rumor is $10 million. Throwing down $10 million as a bid to try and get him. So
it's not bad.
We'll see. How would you rate Thiago Motta up until today out of 10? Oh, I like this one. I like this one.
Let's give him a...
I'm going to say 7, maybe 7.5.
Yeah,
Solid
I
7.
felt like 7, 6.5, maybe.
Yeah, agree with Omer.
Yeah, 7,
well,
7.5.
It's either 3 goals or nothing, right? That's the stats right now.
7 to 7.5. Yeah, 7 to 7.5. But that's pretty damn good this soon. Mm-hmm. Like that's pretty damn good for me this soon. Defense can't be.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, can't be understated the work he's done defensively with his side and whatnot. It's just about cracking the code. Hopefully we can crack the code today. I'm telling you. If we can't break this damn bus again today, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. And everybody's going to see it because I'm going to watch along today. Should Giuntoli have prioritized Calafiori and Xerxes over, say, Conceição and Nico?
No.
So this one keeps coming up and keeps coming up and keeps coming up. We talked about this. Even if you prioritized Calafiori, he became 50 million euros. So I don't think Conceição on a loan really affects that. And Conceição on a loan, like that's got to happen regardless. Nico at what? Worked out to 38, I think, all in, all said and done. I'm still a no. And the reason is I think what we're seeing now. We're seeing that they had options.
Yeah.
And they rounded out the club, I think, as best as possible. For me, I don't have any regrets over Calafiori. Xerxes, you could maybe make a statement, but it would have never happened without moving. I said this all the time when we were getting those rumors. Remember in the summer, it was like they're looking at Xerxes too, and Vlahovic is staying. I'm like, how? How on earth? Like, you have to facilitate the move. So without Vlahovic leaving, hindsight, I can't say we should have prioritized that. No, I think we needed a vice. We just needed a vice Vlahovic.
Yep.
I threw names out there I would have went after. You know? I know how people feel about Depay, but he signed for 12 million over 2 years. And I would have taken Depay for 12 mil over 2 years. Just as a short-term coverage option. There was Morata at 12 mil. I would have taken Morata at 12 mil as a vice, as an option. There was, I think the vice is the biggest one for me.
Yeah.
Not Calafiori.
Yep.
And not.
I don't think both of them were options to begin with, because they all came from the same club, which we took their manager to, and those guys had offers from abroad. Why would they sell to Juve? Why? For underprice and gonna drag them out with negotiations till they get less than what they wanted, while Arsenal and United are offering more money and not to a direct rival. Yeah, I don't think they were options to begin with. The minute Calafiori became like 40 million plus, they gave up on him immediately. And Xerxes was only rumors, like there was nothing concrete.
Yeah. So Calafiori would have had to abandon the Luiz deal. And that's what everybody's kind of headlining. But you're missing the big key out of the Luiz deal, was also saying goodbye to two players and getting the capital on those deals in there. So it's not apples to apples. You scrap the Luiz deal, you still don't have the money to get Calafiori. And they're not taking those players. Funny enough, I think Ilian Jr. ended up there on a loan when it's all said and done. But it's not apples to apples. So, yeah. The rear view is smaller than the windshield for a reason. Let's keep trucking forward, everybody. Let's keep trucking forward. It sucks, though. But Calafiori, all you said earlier on in the chat, next season, he comes. I'll take him next season. Let's go.
I think it'll be a Barzali case, and we'll have him when he's 30, and he's going to be a beast by then.
We're going to machine gun the last two. Who are you most worried about the squad for injuries and fitness? Weah, question mark? Weah is definitely concerning. This guy gets back in and then gets back out. But
Kalulu as well. He has a big injury history, Kalulu.
He had a bad injury season.
And he's been good, so losing him would be a tough one.
Honestly, I'm worried about the key guys, like the big guys for injuries. Like the biggest name to me, I don't want to see this team lose Bremer at any point of the season for several games. The only time I want to see Bremer leaving is for rotation once in a blue moon. He has been called to the Brazil squad as well as Danilo. So hopefully he doesn't get action and he stays fit and everything. Douglas Luiz, not called up. Media, obviously. picking that one up. But yeah, the key guys for me, and Bremer would be the first name. Like, I don't want to see Bremer at any
Yeah,
point.
that's the question. Is it like who we will miss the most, or who will have
Well, the question
most
is, who do
time
you think is,
sidelined?
I'm assuming is going to be like, who's going to be injured the most. But my biggest concern or worry is the guys like Cope Miners, Bremer. Those are the two
I
immediate ones.
agree. I agree with that, and like because like Wea is not like a central figure that we rely heavily on. He's a rotational player. But in
Yeah.
terms of who would be injured for most of the season, have most injuries, yeah, I think it's Wea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, get the likes up. Get the likes up. We got a couple. Well, last one here, actually. Do you guys think Nico is more effective with Kalulu as right back since he's more active in the offensive phase over Rohi or Danilo? Well, I said this earlier anyways. Nico's kind of been left high and dry. He's kind of been sacrificed in terms of who's been playing at the side. It's definitely better with a fullback that gets active and gets forward. Yeah, he suffers. He's been suffering, and it hasn't been all on him.
I actually applaud his work rate. He's
Yeah.
working defensively a lot more than I expected him to.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I got no complaints there. Last one. Will Conceição play today? At least during the second half. Will we see Conceição?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
maybe we'll get 5-10 minutes, 15.
I think
maybe.
he gets a cameo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
Cameo
fits in.
coming? Everybody
Yeah.
says yes. Well, we'll find out, and we'll find out very, very soon. We are about an hour and 10 minutes away, all right, from kicking things off and getting ready for this match on the live watch along. Hope to see you all there. We're ready. The predictions are in. Omar's going 2-1. Trim's going 1-0. Lucci 2-0. And myself going 1-0. Time to break down the damn bus, all right? So let's go, everybody, all right? Omer, Trim, Luch, been an absolute pleasure, lads. Enjoy the match. Everybody in the live, you guys have been fantastic. Hope to see you for the watch along, all right? Let's go smack Genoa around and get the job done, okay? We need these 3 points. As always, no matter what, fino alla fine, Forza Juventus. We'll talk in about an hour. Ciao.
Yeah.